Should be live. Yes, I think we're live. Now we're live and it just takes a few seconds. Right, now we're live on Facebook.
Great.
And I'm just going to turn the volume down. Okay, so I don't hear myself repeating. Okay, good. Hello, everybody. So welcome to today's live broadcast here at Social Souls. Very excited today to have not necessarily my cousin Vinny, but I think it's my second cousin through marriage, cousin Vinny, who just so happens to be another social media maestro and a real wizard when it comes to content marketing. So I'm delighted to have Vinny on the broadcast today. So hi, Vinny.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you broadcasting from? Where are you today?
I'm North London, cold London. So yeah, sitting in my home office. It looks a bit bland. I'm still putting pictures up, but yeah, I'm at my home office.
Perfect. Brilliant. And great. So welcome, just for anybody who's joining. I think I can see we've got Malcolm, Lila, somebody else is on the broadcast. So Elizabeth's come on now. So hi, if you can hear us and everything is clear, can you just send some thumbs through, because I'm watching the Facebook one as well. Elizabeth, if that would be useful. Can you hear us okay? Because there is a bit of a delay. So yeah, I think they can hear us. I'm getting some thumbs up. That's good. Yep. Okay, good. So so today's Social Souls is all about content. And as I said, I'm joined by Vinny, in case some of you missed that. And Vinny is here to share his deep insights around content. So Vinny, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in digital and social and content, etc.
Yeah, the 2-minute version. So yeah, I mean, I started off in paid media way back when, working with the big agencies, but I kind of find that paid media, if you're doing that for clients, it starts to become a bit of a death by spreadsheet. So I like the whole content and the organic side of things, where it's the whole creativity around it. I started way back when with the MySpace and Bebos back in the day. And I've moved into now, like about 3-4 years ago, after working with a lot of PR agencies and brands, I set up my company, VH Digital, where I go in and I help people. Like everybody today says they do social or they do content, but I found that they're not doing it properly. Not to be horrible, but just there's so much you can do with this. I mean, all us guys in this industry, we love this stuff. So you want to get the attribution. You want to show that this stuff works. So I go in, I'm a consultant where I'll go in and I'll consult or train teams to, rather do this kind of content, or these are the questions you need to answer, or here's the strategy for rolling out. And it comes across everything. So events, promotions, awareness, all those kind of things. And my job is to come in and help people with that, and even customer services and those kind of things. So yeah.
100%, because it's all interlinked now, isn't it? It doesn't sit necessarily in a silo within the marketing and comms team anymore. Exactly. It's kind of it flows across the whole organization, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the integration is a really important part as well, especially at PR firms, where a lot of them are still doing the traditional stuff where they're outreaching to journalists and they're getting that coverage on the Daily Mail or wherever it is they want to place, but no one's thinking like, let's look at the comments, or what more can we do with this? It's sort of like this big burst of activity and then it dies down. So I try and help them to make that live on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, continuous conversations, I call that.
Yes. Yeah. If something's working, keep it going.
Exactly. Brilliant. So that's a really great insight. So we are here to pick Vinny's brains today because, he really, I follow Vinny and I see what he's doing, and he's always at these like tech fests and digital fests and some kind of almost like a belt that you've won, isn't it, Vinny?
Briefly, it's what's called the Tech Off. It's really good. You should all look into it. It's 5 minutes. You're on stage and you go against other people in the industry. It's basically a bar. It's nothing. It's not like a typical conference where it's all controlled, and you just go out there and you talk about something that you're interested in or that you're good at or whatever it is, and you just try and beat the other guys. And it's crazy. You got wrestlers behind you that will drag you off stage at the time. But it's really good. It's a great way to network. I've found 2 community managers there that work with me, and so I would recommend looking up the Tech Off after this call. But yeah, I've won it twice. Yes. So I've got to go defend my title again, probably in about a month or 2. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I see that. I'm like, what is this? I've got to come along. I've got to at least
I've
witness
got the
what.
belt down here. I should have brought it out and worn it.
You get that on the wall, Vinny. Get that on the wall. What is that? That's a good talking point. Anyway, so yeah, so let's pick Vinny's brains. Thank you for those of you that message some questions to me. So I've been through. There's been a few questions, Vinny. Still, not surprisingly, around blogging. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've just we start with that, and then you can kind of give us your tips and insights around the repurposing and what are the absolute go-to things that you recommend that people do around content. I've scheduled about 30 minutes for this, so I hope that's okay. And if anybody is got questions as we're talking and we're chatting, if anything comes up, then of course ask those questions, because I'm watching the feed. So I have got a question here. So blogging, where does blogging fit into the content marketing pipeline? And well, there's two bits to this.
All right.
And they might be connected. So, and what are no, let's do them separately. So where does blogging, in your view, fit into the content marketing pipeline?
In most cases, it's the beginning. It's the first piece of content that goes out there. It's obviously there's blogging, there's video, but blogging for me, I mean, the benefits of it, obviously from an SEO point of view, authority, your presence online, but it's one of those things, and you'll see later when I talk about different types of content, it becomes the big thing that you're going to share. So that big thing becomes the little tweet or the little Instagram or the little, so it's fine that you can put out a tweet every now and again on your channel, but having a blog that you're sharing with some opinion on it, the blog is the foundation for me. People today, they still want to read stuff. They're still pulling your blogs into their Feedlies or their aggregators. They're still going to Medium to read stuff. Google's obviously making it priority that your content's always fresh on your blog, so you get more discovered. It does. I think it's in most of my clients, 99% of the time, there is a blog strategy. Even if it becomes secondary, but it gives you that. There's nothing worse than you go to a site and it's stagnant and there's nothing, and it's their take on things. It plays a very significant part in authority, thought leadership, giving your opinion. One of the things I'm doing for my own brand as well is looking into blogging, but what platforms I blog on. So Medium or LinkedIn articles or WordPress. So I'll tell you more about that later, how I automate all that. But it's, in answer to the question, I think it does play an integral part. It's the first thing you would do. Granted, if you're a fashion brand, you might find Instagram's the first thing you do. But then on your blog, you might want to talk about, I'm not a fashionista, but I don't know, the winter lookbook or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean, we still find, surprisingly, that a number of organizations don't have blogs, on their website. They don't, because it's seen as like a bit of a headache. Oh no, because if you start that, you've got to keep on with it. And the reality is you do.
It is. It's a full-on commitment. It's one of those things like, and the problem is like in most cases, unless you change the theme settings, they've all got a timestamp. If I go look at a brand or a piece of tech that I want to buy and I go look at their blog and it says July 2014 or whatever, I'm like, I'm out. There's a fine line between blogging for the sake of blogging, and I say that with content, or blogging because you have intent. And it's part of that user journey that people go through when content comes into play. So there's that first part where people don't know they need something, so the blog can help there, like, hey, this will better this, or this will do X for you. Then it's the next thing when they're researching, so you've got a blog post on our product versus X. So it just forms a part in each part of the user journey. And if we get to it later, I'll tell you a quick technique how you can generate hundreds of blog ideas in a heartbeat. So
well, we'll definitely want to get to that for sure. So okay, so that was that. So thank you for that. So yeah, I agree. It's kind of like the starting bit, isn't it? It can be. And that, as Vinny said, that doesn't necessarily always need to be the written word, your blog. It could be a video that is on your blog. It could be an image that you're talking about. It can be anything, case study, anything can be on there, but it is that kind of key piece of starting point. Okay, great. So talking about best ways to optimize a blog then. So this probably comes into some of your techniques that you use at the moment to optimize things. So
optimizing, obviously there's the SEO point of view from it, and there's all those, I mean, we don't have time on this call to go through the different things that you have to do, but it's obviously, that's the first thing, is obviously making sure your titles are there, you have the right keywords within your paragraphs and those kind of things. Another thing, surprising, that a lot of people forget, and I used to do this, is when you put images in, not naming the images. So if I'm talking about content marketing in my first post, and I put an image at one of those dodgy clip art images or whatever you call it, or stock photography, I will call that social media or something. So it's just different things like that. But it's also, I do things like, and this might be me being pedantic, I even choose the correct font that's easy to read. If you look at tools like, I think it's Blinkist and Medium, for instance, they put things on their blogs that tells you how long it will take you to read this blog post. Because as you know, in this industry, it's a lot about what's the word, snackable content.
Yes.
Granted, you do have long blog posts, you have lots of other things like that, but it's also just making it easy to read. You've got to assume these people are either on the move, they're reading it on their mobile, they want to get the information quick and snappy. So it's that kind of thing, like don't waffle. That's the first thing is like, I don't like blogs that just like will tell me what the sun's doing into their office and then get to the point. I want the facts. This is one of the reasons why list posts do so well. You know, the top 10 things, they do exceptionally well. It's just getting to the point quickly. A lot of the time, my blogs that I found, the ones that do the best are how-tos. That's it. How to do X. And you tell them, here's the problem, here's the solution. Now, regardless of the SEO side of things, is you're just telling them, here's a situation, here's how I'm going to solve it for you. Now go and do it.
I was going to say, and if you think about how people use search to help find content, and particularly in videos, you know, in YouTube, for example, how to is the leading search. You know, it's at the beginning of any search that pretty much happens in YouTube. You know, it's like 98% of the searches start with how to. You know, so people, so definitely those how to and framing the how tos. And they're not dead, are they? You know, they're still valuable.
If you write a piece of content or film a piece of content, whatever it is, if you're providing a solution to a problem at the time, you're going to get those hits, you're going to get those shares. I found it when I first started blogging. I'd write a lot of those theory posts like, here's why I think Facebook is this. And people will read it, but it's not really going to change their output or their life. So what I try to do now is how to convert your Instagram to a business profile, or how to get 10 ideas for a blog post. And people want that. And Google loves that as well. Google wants, I mean, now they're optimizing. They want to be this thing where people ask questions and you're providing solutions. So Google loves that. And I've done this for every client I work with right now. Is we're not just going to blog because we fancy doing a blog. We're going to answer questions that people are asking.
No, we've definitely, you know, encouraging our clients to be more problem solving, you know, and work through the FAQ. Look, you've got all these FAQs on your site. Turn every single one of those FAQs into a problem solving blog. You know, you've already got
one FAQ, and we'll probably touch on this later. One FAQ could become a series of posts.
Exactly.
A series of tweets, a series of, and this is what people want to know. And FAQ, the clue's in the title, the frequently asked questions. So it's catering for that. And again, helps with your Google indexing.
Great. I'm just going to say hi to a few people that have joined us. They know they know they're here. So hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Anne. Hi, Victoria. Oh, it's a lot of females on today, Vinny. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Shelley. Hi, Lila. Great to have you on. Malcolm, hello. And who else is over there? Can't see. That's an image, so I can't see that bum. So good to have you here. So we're talking to Vinny, as you know, about content. If you've got any questions, fire away. So my next question, video, Vinny. What's your views on video? I mean, here at Carvel, I am kind of like, it is video. We've got to do more video. We've got to get our clients to do more video, more live, more interactive. What's your view?
100%. Like, I mean, yes, I said about blogs, but I mean, embed the video in a blog, you know, but it's, it is more important. I mean, the answer to that is basically, if you look at every single tool we use or every single channel we're on, they've all got video, they've all got live streaming, they've all got, you know, I mean, whatever Snapchat's launching and Instagram's ripping off or whatever, it's there. It is important. As much as I said that people will read stuff and things like that, we know that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. And like me, if I'm looking up something like how to use a piece of software or how to do a camera setting or something like that, I will go to YouTube first. I prefer the visualness of it. It's clear. It brings people in. It's you get a lot of love for. I've got some notes here that I put on my computer as well. But it's the higher engagement it brings. We know Facebook gives these live videos love. I was at a conference or a meeting probably about 2 months ago, and we had somebody from Facebook there, and they were talking about that video channel that they're building as well, that they're going to put over there. And it's all going to go towards that. They've seen what YouTube does. I mean, as much as YouTube's becoming a bit of a cesspool right now, but Yeah, 100%. The beauty of video as well is the amount of content you can get off the back of it. So stealing GIFs from it, making clips shorter, making it a native video on Facebook. There's so much you can do with it. And even this now, if we turn this into a blog post and it was a Q&A between you and I, not everyone's going to read all the way through. They're going to find that bit they want. It's also the analytics you get behind a video. You can tell when people stopped watching it. You can tell when people dropped off the site, all that. And it helps you improve your content. So we had a client a while ago. It was a car client, and there's this whole shot of panning across the sunset before the main message started. People were dropping off there. So we thought, well, we have 2 seconds to get them in. Let's get that sunset out, bang, straight in there. So it's more analytics for you, better content, better performing. So yeah, if that answers the question.
Yes, it does. I think it does. And I think, you know, one of the things you touched on there is how you then get more content out of that video, you know, and you said making GIFs, turning this. Do you use any specific tools to do that? Or are you using the traditional kind of iMovie and breaking things out or taking images?
I've got an arsenal of tools that I use, but I was going to touch on a few of them. The thing with the video, what I was trying to say is earlier, the first thing you've got to take into account is, and this was born out, I think we had this conversation, I worked with a video production company. They put hundreds of thousands into the production of a video, they make it, they give it to the client, job done. I would be frustrated with that. What we do now is you look at behind the scenes, stories on the day, live streams on the day. As I was talking earlier, you research, like if you were selling a car, what about the people who buy cars for the wheels, buy cars for the interior, buy cars because they like red, because they go faster, or whatever the case is. And you build more content around that. And that's a blog post, that's a tweet, and all those kind of things. From that, we use the typical tools I use, and I am a big user of the Adobe suite, so Premiere and Photoshop, but those I find for quick turnaround, not the most practical. So most mobile apps that you can get today will do the job. For instance, for and everybody probably knows this, Canva is my go-to. But what some people fail to notice, I don't know if you have, or somebody can correct me if they're wrong in the comments, in the top right on Canva, once you've created, let's say, for instance, an Instagram post, in the top corner on Canva, there's a button that says magic resize. I swear by that. I'm catering for over 10 channels for one post. I click that, and in 5 minutes, I have every size created for me. Whereas on Photoshop, I would have to open the layered artwork and all that.
Go to your sizings, find out what they are, but it automatically does it, doesn't it?
It does it, like it opens all the tabs for you, even name it. So when you download it, it'll tell you what channel it's for. You can go in and customize them a little bit if you want. But in most cases, they're the same. I mean, you might have to align because Pinterest is long, but it saves a load of time there. At the same time, for video, I use Adobe Spark to make clip ones. So Adobe Spark, drag, drop, boom, 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 done. Your video is done. You know, so if you want to do comments, Giphy is good for taking clips out of videos. It's just a drag and drop, and it's done. Again, I'm talking about a lot of iPhone and Mac apps here because I'm not a Windows fan or Android. But and then I'm trying to Snapseed. The other cool thing as well is simple tools like, have you heard of Over?
No, I haven't.
There's Over and there's WordSwag.
I use WordSwag. I know WordSwag. That's cool.
The one thing I'm trying to figure out for the life of me is that quote posts seem to do really well. I'm not a fan of them, but some of my clients want them. But if you want to turn those around quick, you sign up for something like Unsplash or some really cool stock photography site, put it into Over or into WordSplash, put your quote on, job done. And it's within minutes. And they do look good. Obviously, you've got to do a bit of, don't use the default settings because then everybody look the bloody same, but we don't want that. So it's just having these little mobile. The thing I like about that is I can be on the way to a meeting or to a client, and you can do it on the commute. And the time when you start using the big boys like Adobe Premiere and Photoshop, that's when you've got a big project on hand. Storeo is another cool one. I've been using Storeo for my Instagram stories because I can talk, like I could record this whole conversation with you. Press a button and it will automatically splice it into the Instagram story clips for me.
Fantastic. Oh, I don't know about that. Storeo. Is that S-T-O-R?
S-T-O-R-E-O. And it's not the best looking app, but it just does the job. It's got the functionality. It's and then all you do is you go into your Instagram stories and you just upload them. And then when somebody watches it, it looks like a long form video. And it's really cool. So I don't know if you do it when you're doing a story, you're constantly watching that timer. And
Yes.
you'll start talking and get really festive towards the end of that, you know what I mean? So it basically helps you do that. Even if you've got an existing video. So this video, for instance, you could upload it, it will splice it with one click.
Clever, clever. Oh, I'll definitely have a look at that. So Canva, WordSwag, Storio.
Storio.
Ovo. How are we spelling Ovo?
Over. If you put Over in your app store, Over will come up. It's like a yellow circle, the icon. The final tool that I use, which I won't go into too much detail now, and this is, everyone's got their preferences, but for me to do content campaigns is CoSchedule. Quite expensive for what it does. It's got the metrics on it quite limited. I use other tools for that. The cool thing about this is you can plug it completely into your blog or whatever it is, and when you click create something, you can choose if you're going to do a video or an ebook or whatever, and it allows you to do all of that. And the beauty of it is when your main piece of content is finished, there's a little tool at the bottom that says, in 1 day, do this. In 3 days, do this. You can pull in all your tweets, so you can build a full-fledged content plan. In that. And it's really, I would recommend checking it out if you I think there might be a trial.
Yeah, I have got a trial thing on. Yes, they've sent stuff to us. They've been quite prolific in their sales techniques, I think, going around every agency.
Well, one of the cool features on it is the requeue function. One of the things we haven't touched on that might come up later is Evergreen Content. Yeah. Evergreen Content is your secret weapon, where you write a big post or you do a cool video. It's not like a Christmas special or something. It's just it can go anytime. You put this into something like CoSchedule, and whenever it notices you haven't got anything scheduled, it will automatically pull that in. Yes. Here's the problem with people when they share content. You put all this work into this great piece of content and you share it. By default, you'll put it on Instagram, you'll do a little tweet, you'll do that, and you'll move on to the next project. Every time you repost it, you're hitting more different audiences in your, thanks to the algorithms, we don't hit them all the time, but you can turn on a button that this every now and again will repost it. I've got posts now that have probably gone out 12 times. And every time I get my hits, I get a new email address, I get a new conversion on the website. So yeah, that's something to consider as well.
Yeah. So this is the CoSchedule. I'm just typing it into the messages.
Yep.
CoSchedule. Elizabeth's just asked, what is it called? It's called CoSchedule. Worth having a look at that. Okay.
Yep. That's without a hyphen. I see you put a hyphen in there.
Oh, I did. Okay, so no hyphen.
If I'd known you were going to do that, I'd give you an affiliate link.
Oh. Well, you can put that in anyway. Put that in later. Okay, so there you go. So there's CoSchedule and there's various things. Let's go back to talking about the different types of content there, because you just touched on evergreen content and breaking it down. So how do you break that down? How do you position those different types of content for people who might be thinking, what is evergreen content? What does he mean by that?
Right. First off, evergreen content is content that can be resent every day. Like you could use it every time. It's not time dependent. You're not talking about Wimbledon. You're not talking about Christmas. It's not seasonal dependent. It's a piece of content that tells somebody how to do something. For instance, I have a post on 10 ways to improve your Instagram stories. I can put out throughout the year that can run unless Instagram stories goes away or something else comes out. So what I do is I have that repeating. Every 2 or 3 weeks, this post will come back up and I'll get retweets every time. I'll get shares every time. Because not everyone sees it the first time round. You know, and my theory is if you've put the work into this, if you've put the filming and you've done the research, you need to get that stuff out there. I mean, milk it for all it's got until people get irritated with it, but they're not, because not everyone's going to do it. But on the back of that is obviously the channels you're going to distribute it on. Now, when I first start this, you start basically putting it on every channel you've got. You've got it on your Pinterest all over the place. And we know, as much as I've told you these tools that help speed it up, it still does take time. But this just helps speed it up a little bit. But over time, you'll start looking at your metrics and you'll realize, like, well, Pinterest doesn't do anything for me, so I'm not even going to bother with that, you know? And you start optimizing. So eventually you have your evergreen content, or your content for that matter, has this formula. You know that you should always have 5 Instagram posts, 3 tweets, you know what I mean? So you have a formula for every time you create something, these are the little assets I need to bring.
And I think that's one of the things we get asked a lot, actually. So, you know, when we're putting proposals out to clients, or when, you know, just generally if I'm talking to people, they say, so what is the optimum amount of tweets that I need to be spending a day?
I hate that question.
And how many? I hate that question, because it's kind of like, well, that totally depends on what you're doing and what your objective is and what you're looking to get out of it. And there is no magic number, you know.
There's a fine line. If you're doing it too little, they'll forget about you. If you're doing it too much, you're spamming them.
Yeah.
And every single client or brand is different. I had a client that only needed one a week. I had another one that needed one every day. But you find your rate, you see how it affects things. And I always start off in most cases twice a day.
Yeah.
I start. A month later, I'll move it around.
Yes, so, but you've got to learn, and that's one of the things that I say, you know, it's all about getting out there and testing and measuring, isn't it? And seeing what works.
Yeah, at the minute you start measuring it and looking about what it's doing and achieving your goals, it gives you more of a purpose. There's this, you don't want to be in this rut where I've seen it in agencies where, oh, we got to get a blog out, and people just throw some stuff together and it gets out there, and then 2 months down the line, you're reporting to the CEO why the blog's not performing well. Because no one's interested. You know, you're not giving them the content that they want.
No. Hey, David, nice to see you on here. Now, David's just asked, how do you get evergreen content? It's not really how you get it. Vinny, do you want to maybe?
Is it how, do you mean like, how do you create it? How do you come up with it? Is that, Well, the first thing I do is I want to know what people are asking. I want to know, how can I help people if this is a common question, and I'll use answerthepublic.com, as simple as that is. And I will go there and I will type in content marketing and look at all the questions. Those questions then, and these are based on people's actual questions on YouTube, Google, and that will first inspire it. That will give me the first inspiration as to what people are asking. I will then go and look at things like buzzsumo.com. I'll put that question in or that keyword in, and it will show me the most shared content. What are people doing? And this is just to get ideas around it. Another little trick, and this might help with the book.
Yeah. No. Yes. Yes. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Where's Vinny gone?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah. What happened there? That shut it down.
There's just so much good stuff on content exploded, I think. I don't know.
I'm just putting your name back in. I don't know why that.
All right. Am I here? Can everyone see me?
Everybody back to Vinny? Oh, good. So I think so. Yeah, everybody's there. So I've just put a couple of those things that Vinny talked about there. Answer the public. I think that's a very underutilized tool.
Oh, yeah. It's so powerful. I've gone on there. I've done one check on a Monday and I've got content for the month. There's a lot of other things you can do, obviously in the interest of time, but there's like, you know, you can scrape other blogs using automations from IFTTT. You know, there's loads of other things like that we could probably discuss on another call one day.
We will definitely get you back. We will definitely get you back. So, so this is really useful. If anybody's got more questions, you know, ask away while we've got Vinny here. I've got another question here. So Vinny, with your extensive experience and knowledge about what you're doing and how you're optimizing content with clients, and you know, obviously it's your business, you know, so I mean, this is what you make your livelihood out of, and your kind of thought leadership space. If I said to you, what are the 5 things that if you was talking to me as somebody who's you know, let's just say I know nothing about content, and I'm a business owner, or I'm a community manager, or I want to be a community manager or whatever, what are the 5 go-to nuggets that you would say, well, with your content, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, and you've got to do that? What would be your top 5 absolute? I know you've probably got 50 or 500 things, but if you could only share 5 gems, what would they be?
Well, the first thing is define the niche you want to own. Like where you want to become an authority, where you want to show people that I know my stuff. Can we swear on this channel? No, anyway, that you know your shit, is define that. I want to be known for content marketing. So every piece of content or topic that comes out is about that, or how-tos. I want to show that. So define that. 2, find your audience, is, you know, using those tools. Another one that you can use if you want to learn about your audience or steal from competitors, go to YouGov Profiler. It's a free tool. We'll give you a little breakdown of all your target audiences, what they're into, where they go, all that kind of stuff. Have a look at that. So know your audience. There's a whole exercise about avatars and all that kind of stuff. Again, another discussion. But you know, where do they go? Do they read magazines, or are there certain blogs that they read that you might need to guest post on before you can get traffic to your stuff? Third is your establishing authority. Make sure every single profile that you are pushing this stuff out on is optimized to the max. Your LinkedIn profile has stuff that these people need to see. Your Twitter bio is up to speed. You know, your site is working. It's loading fast. There's nothing worse than somebody's like, oh, this guy's got the answer. Geez, this page is taking ages to load. Just putting those things in place. Choosing your tools. Again, I said to you, I've got a load of tools over here. It's a bit of overkill. You know, you can get a bit overwhelmed with it. Make sure you've got the right ones. You want tools that are going to help you turn around video, post to multiple sites, schedule posts. You're trying to find what they are. Don't just, I got a problem with it where you're like, oh, shiny, and you run off that way and go find another tool. How many is that? Is that 4? Yeah.
No, that was 4. Got one more.
One more. I had it written down. Hold on a minute. Do the evergreen content. If all else fails, if you're having a bit of a writer's block moment and you can't think of anything this week, or the ideas aren't coming, or the inspiration's not coming, your evergreen content will back you up. You can repurpose it. You can answer someone's tweet with it. You can go onto other blogs and add it to their comments. Evergreen is your foundation. It is your peripheral content that will help you loads. Hopefully that helps.
It definitely helps. And I think one of the things I would say, just to pick up on what you were talking about, and sometimes, you know, to answer maybe David's question a little bit about, you know, where to get the content, how do you think? And another key thing that I think that we're all keen to do with social, I mean, and for us, is shout out our story. You know, this is me, this is what I do, this is da-da-da. You know, one great thing to do as well, before you even think about, well, you know, Vinny talked about defining your space and knowing your audience. Well, as part of defining your space and knowing your audience, you have to do the research. You kind of have to get, before you do that stuff, you have to get really clear on what is out there already, who is already out there already, what are their messages, what goes well, what doesn't go well, what gets engagement, what doesn't get engagement. And you really have to do a little bit of listening on the channels. And as much as the channels are brilliant for optimizing and sharing, they are also just as clever for helping you to learn and understand what's going on there. So that's what I would say, David, is a good thing, is listen, get in there and see what others are doing. Listen and look, as Vinny said before, for the gaps. Well, what are others doing that you could bring to, you know, they're not covering the stuff that you absolutely do know. Or maybe they've said something and you think, I don't agree with that, so I'm going to give my spin.
100%. Even if you do agree with them and you want to write a similar blog post, one thing I used to make the mistake of, I'll be like, oh, this influencer's already said that, I can't. Yeah, you can. It's your voice. It's your opinion. And people are going to appreciate that. And then even better is you write to that influencer and say, hey, I've added some more information to your stuff, and they might give you a bit of a link back that's going to help you. You know, so there's loads of different ways to use it. But yeah, and also I forgot to mention on the blogs, look at the comments, look at what people are saying. That's a human being that is asking a question that you would go, I do it. If I sit in a meeting with clients, and I get it a lot, what hashtag should we use?
Yes.
I wrote a blog 2 days ago on a new rule, a thing for Instagram, how to choose hashtags. Just listen to what people are asking, you know, and that's your content, be it social media, be it knitting, be it shearing sheep, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And sometimes if you're measuring, if you've got a website and you're tracking the search, what people are searching for on your own website, the words they're putting in there, the things that they're looking to find on your website, if you're tracking search and you know, you're having that coming up in your analytics, that's another great place for you to think, well, there's clearly people looking for stuff on our site. Let's get it up front and center through blogs, through other bits of content. So
the same with if there's one particular blog post on your site that just keeps getting those hits, is rinse it, write another blog post on it, write enhancements, write a PDF, put a little news email sign up form in there for more details. If that's doing well for you, you got ride that wave, you know. So
exactly, turn it into a checklist, turn it into you know, an infographic, turn it into an image, turn it into, you know.
Before I forget, I've got a great little infographic that I use in my training for choosing types of content, and I'll post it in the comments below, so people can have a grab of that. So yeah.
That would be brilliant, Vinny. That would absolutely be brilliant. Right. Okay. So we're coming up to our 30 minutes. We're overrunning a little bit, but it's so good to have Vinny here and pick his brain. So I hope you don't mind, Vinny. A few more minutes. And any other question here? Anybody got any last questions that you would like to ask Vinny? Don't be shy. I find that it's really interesting on Social Souls. You know, one of the things we really want to engender is that we ask questions and we share knowledge, and people don't feel bashful, you know, and embarrassed about asking questions. But they're clearly, you know, we've got to really work at getting over the challenges of people asking questions. David saying thank you. This is so really, really helpful. So thank you. I'm sure lots of other people will say that as well. So have I got any more questions that I'd like to pick Vinny's brains on? Content marketing. So tools. You've mentioned some tools helping to repurpose. Thank you. Oh, hang on. Agree. Okay, good. Everybody's saying they've really found this really useful. So thank you for that. Just trying to think if there's any last questions that I've got that came up. Automation. You mentioned automation. So what is that, the co-schedule that you're using for automation?
No. So as I mentioned earlier, you cover a whole load of channels normally when you do this stuff. And in sometimes you have to replicate. Now, I'm very skeptical over automation. I hate auto DMs. I hate auto replies. Stay away from that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm talking about is, so my blog, for instance, I'm replicating it on Medium and I'm replicating on LinkedIn. The reason behind that is it's hard work to get your blog traffic through SEO. Whereas on Medium and LinkedIn, there is an established audience there.
It's already happening, yeah.
So in order for me to speed up the process, I have a plugin called, I had it here on my notes, I'll put it in the links, but it's a plugin that when I publish my blog, it automatically sends it out to those channels and it's there.
Is that a WordPress plugin? Are you?
Yeah, that's a WordPress plugin, but there are other ways, which I'll touch on in a minute. So this automatically goes out. Be careful, because once you publish, it's done. If you make any edits, it won't reflect on the others. But you plug this thing in and it will go to Medium, and it will also, on your Medium and LinkedIn post, it will say on the bottom, originally appeared on VH Digital or wherever my blog or wherever your blog is. Also, I sometimes go in and I will edit them a little bit, because there is the SEO problem with duplicate content. You've got to be careful, but I'm not that big enough yet for Google to give me a bit of crap about it. The other ones to look at, which most people use, is IFTTT. There are so many. Again, I'll have to come on here again and tell you how I use it in so many different ways. But
if then that, what is something?
If this then that. I mean, I use it. I've got it running my lights in my house as well. So, but it's you could do anything. Like if I post this, make sure it happens here. You know, because some people don't take into account other channels. You know, so make it post there. Zapier is a more premium one. You got to pay for it, but I use that for a lot of funnels that I set up.
Yep.
So there are, when I say automations, I mean getting your replicated content on other channels.
Okay. Yes.
You've probably seen it. I don't like people who will post an Instagram post and just click a box so it goes on Facebook. So you've got a Facebook post with 30 hashtags on it and it looks lazy. So always stay away from that.
Terrible.
Again, we'll talk another day about automation.
I've got two more questions, if that's okay. So
no problem.
How long do you suggest, Elizabeth's asking, how long do you suggest one spends on a how-to article?
Well, good question, but there are different formats of blogs. I once a month will write an epic blog post, and I've got a great way to show you how to get 100,000 hits to that, but I'll keep that secret for now.
Wow.
It's a quick one. Like I was saying earlier, you don't want to waffle, you know, so if it's 2 paragraphs, it's going to get somebody to the solution they want, then do it. You're still going to get indexed by Google. You're still going to be able to make Instagram posts off it or tweets off it. Don't waffle. If you can get that point across in 2 paragraphs or 1 paragraph, do it. So it's how long is a piece of string? If somebody's asking you, how do I SEO my blog? That's going to be a bit longer because there's a lot of steps. If somebody's going to say, how do I put text on an Instagram post? That's going to take you a paragraph to write. So it just depends on what the question is. Yeah.
Okay, good. And any other suggestions? Caroline's asking, any other suggestions for finding content? I mean, Caroline, I don't know if you saw in the blog, she mentions that she's used BuzzSumo, but was a bit overwhelmed with that. And I get that because it is a bit bonkers when you first get into it. But Caroline, do have a look at answerthepublic.com. We use that and it is really useful.
I would look at Quora as well.
Yes. And Quora,
Quora is great because you can actually write your blog and then post it into Quora. I mean, I did a whole thing a while ago. You probably saw it, Michelle, about how to use Quora for authority. Quora is great, and you can learn a lot. There are, I haven't used it for a while, but I know Buffer used to have an app called Pablo, where you can basically scroll through content and decide what you want to write about. I wasn't that impressed. You can try that. But for me, Answer the Public, BuzzSumo, and Quora.
Yeah, I mean, and also just generally what's trending, you know, you can go onto Twitter and look at what's trending in London, what's trending in Birmingham, you know, what's trending around the world. Again, there's so many different ways that you could go there. But I would say start with your audience. And I would also, you know, if you've got a group or if you've got them talking or if they're on email or if you've got a newsletter, you can also ask them, like, what's the one thing that you really get stuck with? What's the wrong, you know, there's loads of ways of, you know, and each one of them might say one different thing, hopefully. And that means that you've got 10 topics ready for the next year and for the next 10 weeks or the next 10 months, you know, depending on how you're mapping that content out. So yeah, so okay, Vinny, I think we probably should leave it there. Otherwise, we're going to have you here all day. Big thank you to you.
No problem.
It's been
I
really
like talking about this stuff, so
I know you do, and it's really wonderful to have you on here. And obviously, you know, it's your passion, it's your thing. So we're really lucky to have you. If we'd love to have you back, Vinny, for more down the line.
Problem.
I know you're a big man, but yeah, really, really lovely and really, really thank you. So everybody said thank you. Everybody said
thanks, everyone.
and very, very useful. Of course, there will be more people jumping in that don't watch this live at 11 o'clock on a Friday for, you know, they're at work or whatever, wherever else, and it just doesn't work. But we do tend to get lots of catch-ups over the weekend. So so this is quite a good time to be doing stuff. So if there's anything else that strikes up and we feel that you need, I'm sure you'll be watching it and you can jump in, because we're lucky to have Vinny on Social Souls. So if you've got any content questions outside of this stuff, you know, then you can always ask Vinny inside Social Souls. Vinny, I should say, also runs another group called the Content Blueprint, which is a bit more, I suppose, it's a
process.
It's very processed. Well, it's not very processed. I found some of the stuff really useful, actually.
It's basically my how-tos, how to do this, how to do that.
Yeah, but it goes into a lot more detail, you know, so Vinny's just, you know, he's got 30-40 minutes now over with us on Social Souls, but in his own channel, then it goes into a lot more detail. Shelley's also asked, Vinny, can you put your Instagram details in the
all right, I've got two. I'll put my business one up because the other one's just pictures of my dog. So yeah, I'll put that in. No problem.
Yeah, and but yes, so they've said, you know, share your links so that people can follow you and put the group in there, you know, and so that people can have a look at that. If I mean, again, it's a closed group, so Vinny's particular about who he allows into his den. So yeah, to just see if you get in there. But yes, so huge thanks from me. Lovely to see you. I really hope to catch up soon. And thanks from everybody over on Social Souls. And we would love to have you back again, Vinny. So
sounds good. And thank you everyone for listening.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So lots of thumbs, lots of happy heart things here going on. I'm not sure what you can see because we're not on Facebook.
It's weird. It's like a mystery date thing because I can just see a number of viewers and that's it. So anyway, so,
I can see reactions and comments and all sorts of things on here. It's great, and it's been good. It's lots of action. So, so thank you very much, and have a great weekend.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. And next Friday, again, we've got our live at 11. It's with David Taylor. So the co-author that I wrote The Business of Being Social with, I've trained for many, many years with David. He's also going to be talking about content, but a very different positioning to Vinny in many ways. He's going to be talking about like keeping the content reservoir totally filled up. So what Vinny's done is given us some ideas for filling up that content reservoir and then how to optimize it and push it out there. David's going to be talking a bit more about that. How do you get the content and where does that come from and those aspects. So, you know, it's a different slightly different perspective. So any questions on content around that, again, ask away, and I'm sure David will be able to answer those. So yeah, tune in next Friday as well. So thank you very much, Vinny. Great weekend, and thank you. Bye for now.